A DNA test revealed. My dad isn't my real father. I'm 22, and last month I found out my dad isn't actually my biological father, and the person who told me wasn't my mom. It was a DNA test. My dad and I have always been close. He's the kind of man who never missed a recital, always fixed my car, and texted me, "Drive safe," every night when I went out. He's patient, kind, and never once raised his voice at me. My mom, on the other hand, has always been complicated, controlling, secretive, and obsessed with how our family looked to others. But I always thought that was just her being overprotective. A few months ago, I ordered one of those DNA ancestry kits for fun. I wasn't expecting any surprises. Just wanted to see if our family really had Irish roots, like Dad always said. When the results came back, I didn't even check them for days. Then one night, I opened the app and saw something strange. It said I had a parent match, but it wasn't my dad. At first, I thought it was a glitch. I refreshed the page over and over, but the same name kept appearing, Michael R., a man I'd never heard of. The DNA results said there was a 50% parent match. My hands started shaking. I immediately called my mom. I told her, "The test says Dad isn't my biological father." There was silence on the other end. Then she said, "Delete that test right now." That's when I knew it was true. I asked her, "Who is he?" She said, "It doesn't matter. Your father is the man who raised you." I said, "No, you don't get to decide that for me." She hung up. When I told Dad, he looked confused at first, then hurt. He said, "What are you talking about?" So I showed him the results. He went pale. He just stared at the screen, silent for what felt like forever. Then he whispered, "I always wondered." I said, "You knew?" He nodded slowly and said, "I didn't know for sure, but I suspected." Apparently, when I was a baby, a few neighbors had told him they'd seen Mom spending a lot of time with a coworker while he was away for work. He confronted her back then, and she swore nothing happened. He wanted to believe her, so he stayed. He said, "You were just a baby. I wasn't going to leave you." That broke me, because even though he's not my biological father, he chose to be my dad. Every day, I asked Mom again who the real father was, and after a week of silence, she finally said his name, Michael, the same name from the DNA results. She said he was an old friend she made a mistake with. A mistake that lasted 22 years. I looked him up online. He lives 2 states away, has a wife, 2 kids, and a picture-perfect life. I messaged him, I don't even know why. I just said, "I think you might be my biological father." He replied 2 days later with one line, "Please don't contact me again." That was it. When I told Mom what he said, she cried and said, "I told you not to reach out. He doesn't want anything to do with this." I yelled, "You lied to everyone, to me, to Dad, to him. You ruined everything." She tried to say she did it for the family. But if that's true, why do we all feel broken now? Dad moved out 2 weeks ago. He said he needs time to process. I don't blame him. He raised a child that wasn't his, loved her, sacrificed everything, and still got betrayed. I told him, "You'll always be my dad." He smiled sadly and said, "You're my daughter." Nothing changes that. But something has changed. Because now, every time I look at my mom, I don't see my mother. I see a stranger who built our whole family on a lie. And I don't know if we'll ever recover from it.